Crypto, blockchain, Web3, and digital asset technologies will attract the biggest investment allocations in the years ahead. Joining us now to break this down is CoinDesk Events Managing Director, Tira Gray. Welcome, Tira. It's great to have you on the show. So, Tira, you are the mastermind behind a really awesome event that you know I'm very personally excited about, the I.D.E.A.S conference that's happening in mid-October here in New York City. And one of the ideas behind I.D.E.A.S, as I understand it, is that this is supposed to kind of spotlight some of the biggest trends in crypto right now. And so given that you are, again, the mastermind behind this, what are you seeing? What are some of the trends that you are seeing as you put this event together?
So, Emily, we're in a very different world now than we were when we started the research and production on this event. We've seen a lot of bad stories, if you will, over the past few months. But I think the irony is the underlying theme of this event and value proposition is probably stronger than ever as a result. That's because, as we've seen extraordinary announcements from traditional finance over the past couple months, ranging from KKR and BlackRock and the new I.D.E.A.S exchange with Schwab and Fidelity and Citadel behind it, traditional finance is not about to get into the digital economy. It's there. But what we're seeing, and what is so important, are the end investors are racing to figure this out, where to put their capital and how to put it to work with their traditional senses of risk management and portfolio integration. And as such, what I.D.E.A.S is there to do is access to the developers, the entrepreneurs, the innovators, and the founders of the companies that are going to attract the biggest capital, institutional capital in the years ahead. The analogy I use in all of my calls here is the capital flows like this shoestring. It's very linear. You have the end investors on one side, and you have the actual developers and innovators on the other, the crypto hedge funds, the venture capitalists, and the banks in between. But it should be circular. The end investors have got to meet the developers and the founders of these companies to better understand the marketplaces that their capital is going to end up in very soon.
So one of the interesting trends that we've just noticed on the show is a lot of regulatory and policy ambiguity out there and a lot of uncertainty, especially here in the United States. How are you seeing that impact just these trends and this event that you are organizing?
So, I kind of chuckle a little bit here. It's because I've worked in hedge funds for a long time and with institutional investors. Regulatory uncertainty is nothing new to institutional capital holders. They've been there for 20 plus years. They've seen industries mature. There's been a lot of lessons learned. I think there's certainly hesitation on when to pull the trigger, so to speak, into the capital flow. But they're used to navigating this. I mean, we're going to address this at I.D.E.A.S. We have a fantastic regulatory policy panel with former CFTC Commissioner Don Stump. Congressman Jim Hines from Connecticut is going to be joining that discussion. It will be hosted by the Blockchain Association. It's going to hit on key areas of where harmonization is hopefully going to start to evolve, particularly between the U.S. regulatory bodies. But as far as the institutional investor and the traditional alternative asset managers' comfort level with this, I think we've vastly underestimated that they've operated in uncertainty for many, many years, and they're very good at when to sit back, learn, and listen, and when to move.
So if you were to break down some of the, how you would categorize a lot of these companies that are going to be at I.D.E.A.S, how would you do so? And, what are you noticing about those companies, besides the trends, but just in terms of who's interested in this, in this event?
So this is a really great question because I think from the beginning, this was part of our secret sauce. It was very important to me that we had an excellent ratio here of the traditional finance and the crypto natives. And I really broke it down into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 would be the allocators and institutional investors that are actively engaged in the digital economy already or just starting to do their research. 2 would be the asset managers who are basically coming at this much aligned to the institutional investors. Where should they put their capital? How should they invest in the space? 3 would be the crypto natives, and I always put an asterisk here, crypto natives who want to collaborate and want traditional capital. And then 4, and this is probably the most important and underlooked, are the service providers who are securing the deal flow in this space. And those are the representatives of the law firms, the accounting firms, the custodians, those who are going to make sure the capital deal flow here is done properly, securely, and safely.
All right, Tira, so we have an idea of who is going to be at the conference and some of the players in terms of, institutional interest. But I wonder, can you highlight some of the big ideas you feel are trending in the industry with this conference?
So there's so many, and I hate to draw out any one or two, because here's what to me was the biggest takeaway as we put together this speaking faculty. So taking a step back, the presenters had to apply to present at this event. They're going to be given 10 minutes to tell their market story, and this is a key thing to point out. These are not presenters who are selling their companies. They're using their organizations and companies as merely the window through which to evaluate the marketplace in which they're operating. And this, to get to your question here, is where the extraordinary unlimited content begins to manifest at this event. We have very old, tried and true industries that in traditional capital is very comfortable with: insurance, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing. We're going to have presenters showing the disruption that is about to happen to those very old and widely accepted safe industries, if you will. In addition to that, we're going to have presenters showing some of the more cutting edge technology and applications and wrappers from Web3 and blockchain kind of hybrid structures, credit and defaults. I mean, these are all the sexy terms we're hearing in the headlines right now. These presenters are going to cover from the safest, most old school traditional innovation and to the newest, most cutting edge.